you guys for following us for another Clocked In conversation. Today's guest, we're going to be walking through one of my favorite places in the city, Union Market. Her name is Donna Morgi, and we'll be talking about her freestyle hair app, which connects melanin brothers and sisters who are looking to get their hair cut or get their hair done. And we'll be delving into what was the inspiration behind her app. See you soon.
I've been waiting for a long time. No, I've been waiting for a long time for you. Headed home, only I'm coming through. No control, I'ma run up on you.
Welcome, Donna, to my Clocked In conversation. Clocked In essentially is a challenge and an affirmation that I kind of created for myself. So I started seeing and talking to different people in DC, and I'm like, DC's brimming with talent. People that are out here, that are identified a goal, that create a plan, and that ultimately execute on that. I want to have a conversation with them because, for me, I want to talk the best version of people.
Yeah.
The best version of people is when you get them talking about things they're interested in, where they put in their time and hours in, where they're quote unquote clocked in. So, your freestyle app, tell me, is this something that you've been thinking about since you're a little child? Is it something that was born out of necessity? How did the freestyle app come, and what is its intention?
So the freestyle app was basically created out of necessity. I heard the question a lot, and a lot of my friend groups where friends were basically asking each other, where to go to get their hair done. And I just felt like there's an app, there's technology, there's a way to do just about anything else.
Absolutely.
Why isn't there a way to put our word of mouth resources all on one platform?
Absolutely. You found a problem. You definitely providing a solution.
And it was a problem that I felt like was commonplace to more than just myself. I think that especially because our hair is just so different as African Americans, we have natural hair, we have braids, we have color, we have locks, we have everything. We want to have the right person doing your hair because it impacts your confidence. And so I basically just wanted to solve the problem for the Black community, or create a resource at least.
So how were you able to even bet on yourself and respect yourself enough to be like, yo, I'm just gonna dive in. I don't know where it's gonna lead me to, but here I go. Yeah.
So in the beginning, I didn't have a clue where to start.
Right.
I just knew that to do what I wanted to do would take a little bit of a technology background. And so I remember signing up for all these coding classes, I gotta learn how to code. So I took a few of them and I thought that was really cool, but I've always thought to work smarter rather than harder.
Absolutely.
And I think that was it's definitely something that, is cool to learn, but I wanted to make sure that I got this product out there and wanted to do it in a timely way.
I know the manifestation of your idea didn't just happen overnight. So what is a pitfall or maybe an obstacle that you had to overcome in your process?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest hurdles for me is just the getting over perfection. I think that's a really big thing. I think that, perfection can be the enemy of progress.
Absolutely.
Especially when you think of something as being so near and dear to your heart, you want it to be just right. You want everything to be perfect before you let it out. And it's kind of it can hinder you because, if you're nitpicking at everything and you're kind of just taking your time to just get it exactly right, it slows your progress. And then also it's you don't really know what people are gonna, gravitate towards.
Right.
And,
it's trying your hardest and trust in the process, trying your hardest and letting faith carry you the rest of the way, right?
Exactly.
So how do you plan?
So when I first came up with the idea, I was actually working as a director of finance. And so what I noticed was that I was taking my work home with me. And I think that people often wonder whether or not a 9 to 5 and then also start their own venture, and I definitely think it's possible. And for me, what I needed to do was I needed to step into a role that would allow me to pay my bills, because I definitely needed to have my bills paid.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, free up some of that mental space to be able to do both. It's definitely important, I think, to just kind of find balance, whether it's balance in your 9 to 5, balance at work, balance friends help a lot. I literally feel like that meme where it's behind every successful woman is a group chat hyping her up. There's literally a group chat hyping you up, motivating you. Yeah, so I definitely have to shout out my friends and supporters.
That's dope. So I do this thing when I wake up in the morning, I have a conversation with my 80-year-old self, right? So he's gonna have the gift of hindsight. So he'll be able to be he'll look back on my life and be like, all right, Aji, you were supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. But hopefully, if I, follow my passions and my purpose and to help other people reach their purpose, hopefully he's smiling, right? So what do you think your 80-year-old self is saying about you? God willing that you get there.
Yes, I feel like my 80-year-old self would be encouraging to me to be, be proud of yourself, clap for yourself. Right. You should be the main one, big up in yourself. And so that's something I always say to myself. I have a couple of go-to quotes that kind of keep me motivated, and I feel like that older self would smile and just tell me to continue to boss up.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, or is this something that just kind of fell out of the sky for you?
Honestly, I feel like for me, entrepreneurship is kind of in my blood. I think that, having parents that my background is Nigerian, and so my mother grew up in a village. My father grew up in the city of Nigeria, Nigeria, and I saw, I kind of was privy to see them like come to the United States and like start up their own business and kind of just instill in me that like work ethic. But I think even outside of that, like as an individual, like I'm really curious. I'm nosy.
Yeah.
I'm really nosy, and at the same time, that curiosity I feel like is what kind of like shapes me as an entrepreneur, because I'm always asking like why, or I'm always trying to figure out how things tick and tie or whatever, and at the same time also just trying to figure out ways to like create solutions. Like I think that like curiosity has helped me to excel in a lot of different ways. It's gotten me into trouble too, but
right. But what's life without trying a little bit, right?
What's life without trying? You have to try.
No, absolutely. I will leave you with one last question. Where does this app impact society as a whole? Like, what do you think it does?
Honestly, I think that being an app that was created for the Black community, like I think that it's going to be a tool that would help to recirculate the dollars within our community. I think that, this app could be a way for us all to eat. Like the way that it's created plants the seed in that like budding entrepreneurs to be able to feel as if they have a platform to be able to list their services and grow their business through client referrals. I feel like that can give access to that, up and coming barber that's cutting hair out of his house.
Right. Brings the word of mouth to the 21st
exactly.
century. Now, that
bringing
makes
us
sense.
a little bit more. Jobs of the future, I feel like, are moving more towards technology.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's going to be really important for us to like have a seat at the table and have like a platform that allow a lot of people to continue to do their passion, follow their passion, and be accessible to those that need them.
Donna, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
If you don't mind me, we do this last thing where we tell the cameras, time to clock in.
Time to clock in.
Time to clock in. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right.